Hey guys, I'm using my back camera here. It's better quality. Hopefully I get a decent quality video here. So the reason I'm making this video is I want to tell you a story. And the story is the adventure down to the river. So I don't really know what the moral of the story is. Don't really know what I'm going to tell you. But I think there will be a few morals in the story. And take what you need and let go or leave what doesn't serve you. So, other weekend I went to this festival. It was called Crater Fest. It's 90-kilometer crater in Magalies, and it's the biggest meteor crater in the world. Beautiful festival location, and I hadn't actually decided to go to this festival until the last moment. I had plans to do something, and then this lady messaged me. We had done an ayahuasca ceremony together. She was helping facilitate, and she had followed my Facebook for a while and wanted to meet up to chat about life. And so she had said that she was going to this festival, and I decided, okay, well, we're both wanting to chat to each other, so let me come to this festival. So at the last minute I decided to get everything together, get all my camping stuff, went and bought a little weekend warrior tent, because all my tents have been through the bushes. So I decided to go to this festival, and I get there and she's not there yet, and she says she's not getting there for the next 3, 4, 5 hours. So I get there sort of in the afternoon, and I feel quite lost when I get there. Everything's quite foreign to me. I don't know anyone. I don't know where I'm camping or where this group is camping. So she gave me a number to contact, which I couldn't get hold of, which sort of frustrated me even more. And then I just told myself, look, calm down, you'll find these people. And she gave me another number for a gentleman that would be one of my guides for the weekend. And so I get hold of this guy, and I actually found where we were camping as I got hold of him. So I'm like, hey dude, I'm here. And then so I take my little tent and go set up, in a nice spot under the trees. And this group that I met up with is a drumming group, they, amongst other things. So they had a beautiful drum circle around the fire set up down by the river, and this would be sacred space for me and the festival participants for the duration of the festival. And when I say sacred space, I mean it's a space of safety and a space where you can be yourself. The space is held by people in empathy and compassion. So the person there, this lady that I was supposed to chat to, only came in the evening, and I decided to partake of some teacher mushrooms, and it was only 2 grams that I had taken, and I honestly wasn't expecting such a journey. So there was another guide, another lady whom I sort of tagged along with, who would be my confidant. She was kind of like vibing with this other dude, so I kind of ended up as like a third wheel. But anyway, so the mushrooms start kicking in, and I realized that I had committed to walking quite a distance with this guide and this other gentleman. And so they start kicking in, and I'm like, okay, well, I've committed to this walk. And the mission for this walk was to go and deliver yoga pamphlets to the reception where people were taking tickets. So the reason I knew this walk would be intense while I'm journeying on this teacher plant was because I knew I would have to walk through the whole festival, and I wasn't quite ready for that at that moment, but I had committed, and I stuck to my integrity, and I joined these two in a little adventure to go deliver these pamphlets. Sure, what a little trip that walk was. So one of the guy that was with us needed to go to the toilet, so we waited for him outside the toilet, and I wasn't quite settled in my body, in my energy, and this guide of mine took me through some breathing, and it's not any breathing that I haven't done before or any visualization of energy that I haven't done before, but it was just the way she did it with me, like together with me. And she talked about opening up all the chakras, and I've experienced opening of chakras, but I've never experienced it like this before, where I truly believe in that moment that I had opened up all my chakras. And I kind of think that it's that belief that I had in that moment that I could do it. You know, bringing the energy up into the heart, opening up the heart chakra, breathing in, breathing into the throat, breathing into your third eye, breathing into your crown, even looking up a little bit, opening up all the chakras, being totally open. Yeah, it was quite an amazing moment for me, and my energy just settled into my body. I was more embodied. I felt more safe. So we went for this walk, walking towards the main stage, which is playing techno or trance, and the energy starts getting more intense as I start walking toward the stage area, picking up a lot of energies in terms of just seeing the collective shadow, seeing my own shadow, but I felt very comfortable walking with this lady and her pursuer. And so one of the things that we had to do was go into a bar, one of the bars there, to get these flyers to go drop off. And the energy around the bar was quite intense, quite dense, and I felt myself not wanting to go in. And eventually just went in, and I kept my focus. I knew what my mission was. My mission was to walk with these people to get these flyers, and I knew that's what our purpose in the bar was, because otherwise I would have got a little bit lost in the energy in the bar, like in the energy of like, what are we doing here? We're here to get fucked in this bar. And I wasn't there to do that. I was just there to get the flyers. And focusing on my mission helped move the energy quicker. She got the flyers and we got out of there. So the next intense area that we had to walk past was the farm animals. First was the ducks, huge flock of ducks. It was the strangest thing because it felt as if the whole flock communicated as one. It's like they were just letting each other know that these people are walking past now, and that they are safe or unsafe or whatever they were communicating to each other, but they were communicating as one. So then I'm walking past the sheep and the horses and the cows, and we get past all of that with the smells, which were quite intense with my heightened senses. So we're in the Machalis and we're walking down this dirt road to this gate that we're delivering the pamphlets to, and this was for yoga happening the next day. We were facilitating that down by the river, by the fire, and two ladies were doing the yoga. So this area is absolutely beautiful. I had been longing to see the sky so clear. I was on this heightened sense perception. So it was really, really spectacular seeing the open sky and the stars, and really connecting to that whole cosmos vibe and the universe vibe, and sort of getting my mind out of my mind and expanding it. So I was also trying to just deal with a little bit of confusion that this guy had that we were walking with. I was just trying to stay in my center and not be in confusion. But this lady guide really assisted him, which helped a lot. So we deliver these pamphlets and we start walking back. So these two wanted to go to the dance floor, and in the States I was in, I wasn't ready for that. So at one point I told them that, look, I'm going to split off and go back to the river, to the fire, to the safe space. And I said, okay, cool. But at that moment that I split off, I almost got lost. It was weird. It was like some kind of like illusion, or like everything like just seemed so vast when I split off from the two people I was with, and I decided, okay, well, I needed to just go find my guide again. So I ran back to my guide and ended up having to walk past the dance floor, which was alright, actually. So then I left them at the dance floor and continued to get back to the fire. At this point, I'll try not to keep this too long. Hurry up a bit. So I get back to the fire, and this trip starts getting deeper, and I failed to communicate. So in this way, by not communicating around the fire, I sort of was like swimming against the flow. So I was in silence, and a lot of strange things happened around that fire. I remember this one moment where I was the only one by the fire, and it must have been a couple that came and walked up to the fire and was trying to check my vibe. I was very silent. I don't know if I even greeted them. And there was a couple with this beautiful, beautiful girl. I didn't really even look at her. I just knew she was beautiful from her energy. and they were admiring the setup. We had this beautiful light shining up this tree, green light, and she was saying in Afrikaans, "O, dis baie groen, dis die meeste groen wat ek het gesien." And then it went blue, and then she's like, "Dis blauw, dis die blauwste." They must have been on something. And so was I. So it was absolutely the most blue I'd ever seen, actually. So I think they were just trying to figure out my vibe without my communicating, and they must have realized that I was on something. Anyway, so they decided to vacate the area and go back to the party. Quite a few people started coming around the fire, and at some point, because of my silence, a lot of people would try and ask me how I was, and I couldn't communicate verbally, but I was communicating on an energetic level. It was almost that I was communicating to everyone, to their like higher selves, which couldn't have been communicated in words. It was purely energetic. So like I was having a conversation with everyone's higher self, but I couldn't communicate that I was okay, and that might have made some people a little bit uncomfortable, because it's almost like some people need to know that you're okay for them to be okay, which is good. Like, it's an empathetic thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And I learned some lessons on how to just get out of my mind for a second and just let the space know that I'm good. Even though at moments I wasn't so good, I was going through some things where I was like seeing energetic sort of snakes in the fire. So a lot of like the animal spirits were coming through and showing me some things. And eventually toward the end of the evening, my guide sort of said, "Okay, I think let's call it a night, let's go to bed." So that's what I did. I went to my tent and didn't really sleep much, but the next day I was super rejuvenated. Like, I went and just had my breakfast, had some tea, sat in the hammock, and I haven't quite described this river we were down at. It's the Vaal River, and it was really a beautiful setting. Like, we were camped up on the hill, but this sacred space down by the fire was right on the river. So it was so beautiful to wake up early in the morning and witness the beauty of this space we were in, and this beautiful earth that we inhabit. Huge eucalyptus trees. There was all sorts of animals, otters, amazing bird life. So I kind of just chilled in the morning until the yoga, which was at like 10 o'clock in the morning, which I was really excited for. For those of you that don't know, I'm a bit of a yogi, so yeah, that was really exciting for me, and it was helped me settle my energies even more, just doing some yoga in the morning. So another thing that I'd like to just mention is that I partake of Mary Jane. I am an avid smoker of cannabis, and I use it as my guide, as a tool, as an ally. I find it really helps me to sort of be humble, and one thing that it does is that it amplifies anything that is going on. So like, if you're paranoid naturally, or if you've got an unconscious paranoia, what happens is it amplifies that and brings to the surface. So you'll find that you're super paranoid. So some people will think that it's the drug that's doing that, but it's actually your preconceived ideas and illusions that sort of get amplified. and just to mention that this plant is also a really master teacher, not to be taken lightly. By the way, I just don't recommend taking mushrooms at a festival, or at least a high dose like I did. It really opens you up, and I've done a lot of sacred ceremonies where everyone knows what's happening, everyone knows what substances everyone is on, usually one thing, one substance, usually the master teachers like ayahuasca, San Pedro, or mushrooms. And these are the spaces to do it in, where there's people experienced and can look after you, and also there's just a clearer mind space. People will allow you to go on your journeys, and understand when you're going deep. Yeah, so I found that any weed that I smoked would make me really high. And I've kind of put it down to the fact that somehow I've opened up my energetic senses, and any of these psychedelics now, I only have to smoke the tiniest amount to have a huge effect on me, which has really sort of helped me in my day-to-day, because I've abused it most of my life. Well, I would say the last 10 years I've really gone through stages where I abuse it. I've also been on and off, but I mean, the way I use it is still respectful. I make sure that I've got everything that I needed to do done during the day, and I only smoke it when I need to relax and really come down from the day and process my day, and it really helps as a tool and a guide. Yeah, so I didn't smoke a lot. I would often pass on a joint, and because I felt like that I didn't need so much. I was already so high on life and my surroundings and the beauty of the people and souls. And yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about the animals that were around. So there was a few strange things that happened, like this one of the guys at the festival discovered a snake, and a puff adder actually, and he thought it was like a frog by his foot outside the tent, and then realized it was a puff adder. And then he brought it to the sacred space, and we all had a look at it, and it was amazing because actually, ironically, this guy is a snake handler and a guide. So amazing that the universe brought the two together to look after each other. So what they do with these snakes is they'll put them all in one spot and then release them at the end of the festival. Yeah, so other things that happen with animals. So there was 2 yoga sessions, one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday. And on the Sunday, during the yoga session, and during the session in Savasana at the end, where you're lying in relaxation, this pig came and put his whole mouth over my big toe and sort of gave it a lick. And everyone laughed, and it was so strange, and I had to just sort of trust this animal not to take my toe off, because I'm sure it could have if it wanted to. Luckily it didn't. I've still got my toe. And some other things that happened, like during that walk when we had to deliver those pamphlets for the yoga, one of the most amazing sounds that I heard was a horse, doing its thing, sort of. I'm not going to attempt to try and make the noise, but it was as if it had like a huge release of all the energy of everyone in the space, like that it was releasing it through its body. Really amazing when you connect with these animals on different levels. Yeah, so I just want to mention some, like, these people at this festival. So there were some really amazing people that I met, and all their intention really is to have a good time, but also to look after their fellow man and make sure that everyone around them is having a good time, and they really look after each other. There was a guy that did some amazing throat singing, which I gave a bash. He taught me some techniques, and we connected, really down by the fire, by the river. Like, there's no better place to connect on a soul level. And so the same guy that taught me some of this throat singing, he fed me some of his vegetable stew. I'd taken some snacks and stuff, but literally I could have taken nothing and I would have been taken care of. But the point in going to these places is to prepare and to bring stuff to serve others. It's not all about you or me. It's about everyone and us together. And so there was lots of instrument playing, and everyone brought their sort of gifts to the table. And I just want to go back to my guide, this lady. She was the most healthy looking person physically and energetically that I've seen in a long time, and I think it's just the way that she lives and the way that she moves her energy, and her thing is to sort of get people out into the countryside and out and sort of depopulate the cities, because as amazing as this river was that we were on, the Vaal River, it's polluted. And I sort of pictured myself just living on this river and planting vegetables and fruit trees and being on land that I didn't have to own, which is crazy that we have to own land. And I don't want to get into some idealistic or fantasy scenarios or anything, but it's what we're doing. These countrysides produce our food, and then they take a whole lot of transport to get it into the cities, and the cities don't actually know how to deal with their waste. People in the countryside, like, they grow their own food, they deal with their own waste, so I don't know, I was really inspired by this whole adventure to the river, and I hope you can get some sort of inspiration from this little story that I've just told you. And to live in a world where we can't explore our consciousness legally is crazy. These are tools that we can use, sort of like a microscope. You don't want to keep your eye on the microscope the whole time. Sometimes you have to look back, but sometimes it's good to take a microscope to your life. And there's many techniques to do this. I believe that sex and psychedelics are one of the faster sort of lightning paths, but they can be tough, and you need to find the right guides. And it was a spontaneous trip. This video was spontaneous. Spontaneous, living in spontaneity, and following your intuition and doing what you want and changing the narrative. Thank you for spending your time with me and listening to this. I love you all. Namaste.